I think it's recording. Oh, go ahead and just close this. Okay, now I think we'll start, and I'll just edit all that out, obviously. Okay, so the first question is, do you use social media in your job or internship search, and if so, how?
I do, not as much as more recently than I used to. What I used to do mainly was, through Facebook, hey, if somebody posted something that looked like I'd be interested in, I would go there. I've recently found the joys of LinkedIn and how great of a tool that really is, and I've only been on there for a couple weeks, but even still, I've seen some job postings that are possibly good for my future after I graduate if my current internship doesn't work out. So I use it, and I'm using it more, and I've found it to be a great tool.
Okay. I'm not going to try to say anything when you're talking, so that way it's not all of a sudden, oh, where's that voice coming? Okay. So I'll just nod and smile.
Very good.
All right. How did you learn about your last internship or job in which you applied?
And this is my current internship with the FDIC. I consider myself to be very blessed to have gotten this internship. My wife's uncle works for the company, and we were just having a conversation one day. He found out I was interested in accounting and that I was in the banking industry, and he said, well, I have a great internship program that we have at the FDIC that I think you should apply for. And I applied. I interviewed there in Kansas City and got the job, and I've been there. This is my second summer with the FDIC, and I enjoy it.
Okay. What is or would be your preferred method to be reached by employers or career services?
I would actually, email is good. I enjoy getting emails. They're a lot easier to respond to. But when it starts to get to a serious job search, I actually prefer communicating through phone. I feel like that's a lot easier for me to gauge some nonverbal cues, even over the phone, that you can't really gauge through email, and vice versa. I feel like I come off better over the phone than through email, and so I would probably prefer phone or even face-to-face interview if absolutely possible.
Okay. How would you prefer to learn about job opportunities or resources from career services or career fairs, things like that?
Those are things that I would think email or LinkedIn, Facebook, the social media side of it, because you can get a lot more in a lot less time, and it's a lot more efficient. And so I would probably prefer the internet as a tool for those types of things.
Okay. You've kind of alluded to this already, so if you want to answer it again, that's fine. If not, that's fine. But what do you think are appropriate ways for employers to use social media?
And one of the most important or most appropriate, I guess, ways employers could use social media is to put themselves out there, and kind of like I said earlier, using social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, even email if you're that personal with a potential employee, it's a lot quicker, and though quicker isn't always better in today's environment, I think using social media to put yourself out there as a potential employer for a large group of people, especially at a college, is really effective and can be really effective if done right.
Okay. What do you see as current trends in social media right now?
I think it's being used more and more. I personally don't have all of the social media aspects. I have a Facebook and a LinkedIn account, but I just see it being used a lot more, and where employers use LinkedIn and use Facebook, and even businesses use Facebook as a marketing tool as well. And so I think businesses while using it as a marketing tool for customers, I think it's starting to get more they're using it as a marketing tool for potential employees as well. And so it's just becoming more and more prevalent.
Have you ever used Twitter, or do you know much about any employers using Twitter or anything like that?
I personally have not used Twitter. I know that it's getting bigger, at least from what I can tell, and I know professional athletes and media use Twitter all the time to post pictures and stuff like that, but I haven't seen a lot of potential employers using that, but that's possibly because I don't use it personally. So,
have you had experience being pursued by an employer via social media, or has an employer ever asked to see your Facebook page?
No, not yet. But like I said, I've only been on LinkedIn for a couple of weeks, and even there have been some job postings that I would potentially be interested in there. So I can see the potential for it happening, at least as far as an employer approaching me. And I've never been asked to see my Facebook page, at least not yet.
How would you respond if an employer asked to see your Facebook page?
I wouldn't mind at all, to be honest. I think it's, especially as I talked about earlier, in today's environment with social media and the internet being so prevalent, I think it's completely appropriate for an employer to want to know what kind of person they are hiring and to know the character of the person that they're hiring. I think it's easy, or at least easier, to make yourself look good on a resume or in an email correspondence or even in an interview. It's easy to present yourself well, but I think employers can get a better feel for true character looking at Facebook and looking at social media interactions.
Do you have any, well, I'll skip this one because you basically already answered it. What are your expectations of your career services office?
I think it's to be a resource and to be something that, currently I have a pretty good idea of where I'm going to end up working after I graduate, but even if I didn't, and even if something were to change, because things are always subject to change, I think the Career Services Center would be a good option and a good resource to find job opportunities, but also to hone job skills, resumes, interviewing skills, because those are all very important in a potential job search, and that would be what I would expect from my Career Services Center.
Just one more. Where do you most often, or where would you most often look for job openings or career opportunities?
Definitely online is the place I would look first. After that, I would probably go to my network, people that I know, professors, former employers. Thankfully, I have not burned any bridges with former employers, so I would think those would be a good resource for potential jobs. But then, online first and foremost, and then a career services type center with the university. I think those are resources that I didn't really know about for a good portion of my college experience, but I've recently found them to be helpful in the type of skills and the type of services that they offer.
And when you say you would look online for a job or an internship, for example, are there specific resources that you would go to?
As of now, LinkedIn would probably be my number one source to go to. Beyond that, really I'd probably utilize Google and try to narrow down my specific field. I'm going into accounting, and so I would try to narrow down that way as far as where potential jobs might be and go that route.
Okay, can push that.